Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Call of Duty World War II, the full game, single player and multiplayer, on the GeForce GTX 750 Ti. For FPS monitoring, this time I won't be using cam since it's not currently working with this game, and if you enjoy the content and want to support the channel directly, there are Humble and Amazon affiliate links down in the description. So Call of Duty World War II, single player and multiplayer, I'll be doing 1080p, 900p and 720p. To skip to any of those sections of the video, check the description below. I was unable to get 60 frames per second constant on 1080p even at the lowest settings. It was quite impossible. On 900p I had the same issue. I mean, it's possible to be close to that, but it won't be consistent at all. I'll just use an option called pre-T2X resolution. So when you have SMAA T2X enabled, you can use this. This will just use half the resolution on your horizontal axis, which on 1080p instead of being 1920 by 1080, it will be 960 by 1080. So you're getting less pixels on one of the axes. And well, since we're using anti-aliasing for that, it doesn't usually look that much different. I mean, it looks a little blurrier, but it's really hard to notice because it's a soft image due to the anti-aliasing technique. So for 1080p and 900p, I use that technique, 50% on the horizontal axis, using pre-T2X resolution in order to get a more consistent frame rate. This gave me like 10 to 20 FPS more, so I recommend you use it if you have this card. And on 1080p I overclocked the GTX 750 Ti. On 900p and 720p I just disabled the overclock. So if you want better performance on 900p and 720p, just do some overclocking on your GPU. But yeah, overall on 1080p and 900p I used the same settings, but pre-T2X on 50%. On 720p I didn't use pre-T2X because it was enough to be close to 60 frames per second, but you can use it if you want for a more consistent frame rate. And I use slightly higher settings on 720p. But other than that, there's not much else that you can do about it. This is the best way I found to run the game close to 60 frames per second. If you don't mind about 30 frames per second, just crank up the settings a little bit more, but shadows are very demanding. And then on the texture options, on 1080p I used normal because the VRAM usage was kinda high, but on 900p and 720p, due to the extra VRAM usage we had available, I decided to use high. It works, but some textures won't load. They will stay they will take a longer time to load, so keep that in mind. I recommend you experiment with this option. And now I'm going to talk to you about performance and the options menu. So in the options menu, the things that by lowering them got me a good boost in performance, first of all, were shadows. The shadow map resolution was the biggest hit to the frame rate. You have normal, high and extra. They don't look that much different in my opinion. Normal still looks good enough. So if you use normal instead of extra, it's a huge performance uplift. I show you an example at the end of the video using a 1050 Ti. The difference in performance between normal, high and extra, you'll see that there's a big difference in performance. Then we got shadow depth, you have normal and high. I recommend using high, the game looks less flat while using this. A lot of shadows will be missing if you use the lowest setting here. But it's also a hit to the frame rate, not as big as shadows, but it's still quite noticeable. Then depth of field, you have off, low, medium and high. I recommend turning this off if you don't care about depth of field, because when you aim your gun down sights, you get a hit to the frame rate. But using between low and high, I didn't see that big of a difference, so I recommend using low if you're getting performance hits while aiming down sights. Then on screen space ambient occlusion, you got many options. HBAO Plus is the biggest hit there, so if you use GTAO, it'll still look nice enough, but it will be a smaller hit to the frame rate compared to HBAO Plus. Then you got medium distance ambient occlusion, which is also a noticeable hit to the frame rate. With this enabled, you get more ambient occlusion on extra objects, so if you turn this off, some stuff won't have ambient occlusion onto it, which makes the game look flatter. And well, those were the main options that gave me the biggest impact in performance. If you want some extra performance other than that, just lower the options I didn't mention in groups. And the texture quality, if you have a 4GB of VRAM card, use high, don't use extra, it uses more VRAM. The VRAM usage gauge in this game is inaccurate, so keep that in mind. But yeah, this options menu is quite nice, a lot of options, you get the explanation on the right, plus a picture showing you the differences, so that's good to have. And well, you'll notice that on all my videos on this game, I'm using 16GB of RAM. That's because this game on multiplayer, single player and zombies, it can use more than 8GB of RAM, so keep that in mind. If you have 8GB, you should still be fine, you should be able to play the game, but you might get some stutters here and there that are quite annoying. So yeah, take that in account if you're going to purchase this game. It uses a lot of RAM. even on single player. And while talking about single player, my testing methodology was going into single player into a very foliage dense area. So you'll see when I'm between many trees, plus god rays, plus enemies, plus all that kind of stuff, I'll get the lowest performance. But outside of those areas is fine. Then I'll test multiplayer. I won't be testing the same map on multiplayer since I was unable to get to the same map consistently, but overall they run quite similar. And on multiplayer you have your own graphic settings, so if you configure something for single player, on multiplayer you have to do it again. But usually multiplayer ran a little better than single player. Single player in my end ran the worst. And then I didn't test zombies because it was the one that ran better than multiplayer and better than single player, at least on my end. So if you want to play zombies, you'll be fine. Just use the options I selected on the multiplayer option. And this game uses a lot of CPU. You'll see that the G4560 is pretty much at 100% all the time. On some videos I'll test the Ryzen 3 1200 and it wasn't that different. I mean, it used less CPU on the Ryzen, but the GPU usage was already over 90% the majority of the time. So we're over 60 frames per second, no problem. If you have an i5, a Ryzen 5, a Ryzen 7, an i7, something like that, you'll still be able to be over 60 frames per second, as long as your GPU is good enough. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video, thanks for watching and see you next time.
Incoming enemy artillery! Get to cover! Get a break, now! Spread out! Move! Push him back! Ammo when you're ready, Private! I need more ammo, Lieutenant! Infantry, in the open! Coming in from the northeast! Taking cover, open fire! Catch fire! Target at 12 o'clock! I need that A-kit! Come on, we're on the run! Keep pushing! Straight ahead! Here they come! Get out! Dropping grenade! Dropping grenade! Clear guard! Keep up! Reloading! Down! Hold your fire! You two, secure those prisoners! Daniels, keep us moving! Here you go, Private. There's the flak gun! Getting close! Don't shoot, guys are killing our tanks! Armor needs our support! We're gonna take the AA gun behind that tree line! Southwest! There's the AA gun! Let's clean up these crowds and help our tanks out! I need that A-kit! You're all full! I have a Could use some help! Here, get on that flak gun and take out those Stukas!
Ich lenke Ihr Feuer auf mich! Ich helfe Momentum!
Stay wary. Pick your shots.
Der holt die ab den Deck! Die feuern auf mich!
Enemy taking heavy casualties! Push through!
Ungeschütztes Ziel! Vordeck! Movement by the smoke!
Searching for targets.
Spread out! Move! Push him back! I got him in my sight! Huh?
First aid kit.
Potato masher, clear out! Advancing! Toss it!
Catch.
There's the black gun! Stay close!
Those guys are killing our tanks!
Armor needs our support! We're gonna take the AA gun behind that tree line! cover, Private! Get on that flak gun and take out those...
Your weapons. Hunt the enemy. Move out and take position. Hostiles inbound.
Taking him out the corner overlook!
Verdammte Scheiße! I'm hit!
Enemy recon aircraft in the air.